Welcome back to the Holotable Games Network. I'm Beardless Joe.
Oh God, I've completely.
So I get the nickname, and you can't think of a damn thing to say now.
Oh yeah, I was just like, oh yeah,
You're
I
supposed to
needed
come
to
up
come up
with
with a
something.
nickname. Oh yeah, I forgot about that completely. Oh Jesus, what is it?
Well, then,
November?
then for this one, you're just Corey. How about that one? Since I got the
And I'm
nickname,
just
you just get to be Corey and nothing else.
there we go. I'm the traveling man. That's what we'll go
Oh,
with.
there you go. All right,
There
so
we go.
this is our
Oh, let's
Sunday
start that over.
summary on a Monday again because Corey is once again traveling for work. That damned work stuff. So
It's the worst. If I didn't have to earn money to, feed myself, life would be so much easier.
no. It's
Uh,
earn money to buy Star Wars cards, not to
Oh,
feed
there's that
yourself.
too. Yes,
Jeez
that is
Louise.
where a significant chunk of my income goes to.
Where do your priorities lie? So, so over the weekend, we didn't have many tournaments because we are, as we have stated in the past, wrapping up the good old set five. But there was one big one, and that was the Germany Munich's PQ or wait sector,
Sector, sector qualifier
which
out
was
in
the big
Munich.
one. That
Yep.
was a 512 players sold out sector in Germany. It was, as you can see, won by a German. Um, with an Iden data vault. So hard
Hmm.
control all the way through.
Wait, we
Um,
know Jonas is a German.
yeah, because I watched the top four of this, and so
Okay.
I saw the Piet versus Yoda, and I saw the Iden versus Piet.
Oh, nice.
The announcers announced that the one in Spain was won by a Spaniard, and the one in Germany was won by a German. So
Well, that's fun.
yeah, so home
I
team
like it.
advantage for both of those tournaments.
Nice. Yeah,
So
big tournament. This wraps up Legend of the Force. This is
yep.
the end of the Legend of the Force meta right here. It's over starting, I think next week. Yeah, it's legal starting next week. Correct? The new set
Technically, set six was legal. Oh gosh, yeah. Technically, it's releases. It was the pre-release this last weekend. It
Yeah,
releases officially on
on the
Friday,
7th.
which is
Yep.
then why it becomes legal for any tournaments going forward after that. Which also
Yep. So
includes the Intro to Hoth cards. Those are also a part of the legality of set six.
yep. Still waiting on Fantasy Flight to tell us how we get the Hoth cards that are exclusive without having to buy multiple version copies of the playset to get a full playset.
You don't. You curtail like I did and just pick up two sets.
Ugh,
It's 40
frustrating.
bucks.
I mean, yes, but still frustrating. We learned this. So Fantasy Flight learned this in the past with their Lord of the Rings. The not it's a CCG, the Lord of the Rings CCG. This was a problem with that. Every base set only had one copy of certain cards, and people complained nonstop. And they finally fixed that and said, "No, we're going to make sure you get a play set with each of those." The fact that they didn't think about the playset in this one is frustrating nonetheless, because they've been through this before. They know that's a problem, and they shouldn't be doing that.
That said, most of the cards in the Haas stuff, you don't need a play set of them because they're
Which
not
is fair.
powerful enough to really warrant a play set. There's only a few cards that I think you do want to play set, and if you pick up two copies of the Intro to Hoth, you'll have four copies of those cards. So one for your twin sons and a play set for your premier stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah, an extra for your twin
And
sons.
the cards that you only get a single copy of are cards that you probably are going to only be running two of anyway. I really don't see most of them being three of cards just by looking at the set and doing some analysis myself. So,
Fair, yeah. And it's a minor frustration on my part. I don't like being forced to buy multiple boxes of something in order to get a play set. It's frustrating.
how many boxes of the
Well,
set do you have to buy to get a play set?
yeah, I
Get
mean,
out of here. Stop.
non-booster boxes. Let's go
Stop.
non-randomized boxes. Whereas
Get out of
this is a
here.
set box.
Get out of here. All right.
It's fine.
That
But
said,
anyway,
it was kind of nice to see that in the final sector we had a very diverse and eight different leaders being in the top eight. That doesn't mean that we didn't see a plethora of Hans there to have to circumvent to get there, but at least we saw other decks get there besides Hans. So that was really good to see.
yeah, we saw things get passed on. We also saw, as you can see here, a lot of a lot of control coming out. I mean, that
Yep.
is very common with European meta. Also, European meta also does tend to run more control heavy, from what I've seen. But on top of that, this is what I was kind of expecting. We would have seen more of in the last few weeks once Force Throw was banned. It took a little longer, but now we're seeing, yeah, more of the. We've got both Iden, Kira, Thrawn, and Yoda all in there. We also had a few others pop up. We had a Krennic as well that was in the top 32, I believe. I don't have it in front of me. Apologies. I'm at my hotel, so I don't have my multiple screens to look at either. But yeah, so we did see a number of others pop up. I think this will be it for them for a little bit. I think just predicting, doing some quick predictions of what we're going to see initially. We're going to see control drop off a little bit the first few weeks of the new meta, but it may come roaring back pretty quickly. This is common because in initial new meta, the control really needs to figure out what they're playing against before they can really build their decks most optimally. And things can get past them until they have that. So I do think we're going to see the same thing. We're going to see some aggro takeoffs, some mid-range takeoff, but I do think we're going to kind of trend back towards control as the new meta goes forward too.
Yeah, I've never agreed with that mentality. The whole like, oh, you have to know exactly what you are countering to know how to counter it kind of thing. There is so many removal cards in this game that are so blanketedly I can handle X, Y, and Z, that all you really have to do is make sure that your hand has enough of them to counteract whatever your opponent's going to do. The biggest thing Control is going to have to adapt to is the go wide meta being a little bit more prevalent in set six, to have to answer multiple units instead of just the one for one. If you can come
Yeah.
up with a deck that can do that functionally as a control is going to be just, I mean, they have six sets of resources to utilize. I find it hard to
Mm-hmm.
believe that they're going to be put on the back foot. It's just going to be a matter of having to adapt to the multi targets.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I just expect the adaptation is going to take a little bit. I don't think it's going to be instantaneous. I think we're going to see a plethora more of, once again, more Han 2s. Those are going to be everywhere. We'll see a plethora of those. Han 4 is going to be a beast in this set. He got some major help. So we're going to see just the entire run of Hans, I think, showing up everywhere.
Yeah, I think Han
But
4
yeah,
is the
it'll be
new
interesting
Boba.
to see how things go as we roll into the new meta. I haven't actually looked. Do we have some PQs next week? I'm not sure if they scheduled any for next week or if it's just going to be random events the
Felt like
first week.
most of the PQs didn't kick off until the beginning of next year, but maybe there was a
Yep.
few in the December frame. But I don't think there's anything in November. I think that was like a month of get familiar with stuff, but I could be
Hmm.
wrong. We do have a bit of
Which,
a major tournament here in the Portland area, like the first kind of biggie one, which is a 1K tournament put on by Marked Cards. So if you
yeah.
haven't gotten into that one, it's a very limited one because there's only 32 player space available for it, but it is a 1K tournament. So that would be like the first big test here to see what decks are going to rise to the top of the heap. So
Yeah, I'll be curious to see. The one con is the fact that it's 32, so we don't get as big a footprint to really test it as we've talked about with the PQs being only smaller numbers, but still 32 is enough to give us an idea.
yeah,
Yeah, we've
it's the
got
same
that
size as a
upcoming,
small
and then
PQ.
did we mention that last week? We also have a couple of PQs, both a limited and a constructed here in Portland in January, which is exciting.
The limited one's in February, and the premier
February, yes.
one is in January. So
Yep. Yeah, so a couple big tournaments coming up in Portland. Excited about that, especially. I think the limited is going to be interesting. We've talked about my thoughts on limited. I don't love it, but I will still play in a local tournament that's limited just to join in on the fun and
sure,
see how I do.
and on that note, we did have our pre-releases this last
Yeah.
weekend, which was a limited format essentially. You're given the whole typical six packs, and then you get to make your best 30 card deck. Corey and I both competed in what they called a super sealed, which was a pre-release plus six packs. So we get a 40 card deck instead of a 30 card deck. And we got a little extra time to build that deck, but it just gave me, it was a way for the shop to actually have us open more product and have like feel a little bit less confined and restricted in what we had available kind of thing. And I usually treat pre-releases as a this is a get to know the set thing. It's not really like a super competitive tournament. It's join the community and enjoy the cards, open some packs, and like get to know those around you and learn from each other. I use pre-releases as like a hey, I didn't know that did that. That's a great way of
Yeah.
looking at that card kind of thing.
Although I will mention next time, maybe don't bogart all of the Deidras. That would be
Hey, it's not my fault. I literally had 12 packs that I opened, and I opened 4 Deidras and 3 C3POs. I
that
thought
was
the point of
insane.
12 packs was to get a variety of leaders, not just get the same ones.
Meanwhile, I'm sitting here going, I just need a Deidra. This deck is literally all these cards I've pulled is a perfect Deidra deck, and I never pulled a Deidra. I had to go Chancellor Palpatine red because it was the
Well,
only other option I could get blue red.
if it makes you feel better, there was a lot of Deidras, but I only went like 1 and 4 or 1 and 3, whatever we went kind of thing. It did not perform
Yeah,
as well as I wanted it to. So, but
yeah,
that said, we did happen to find a couple cards that we thought
yeah.
kind of
Well,
stood out
first of
during
all,
the
before we go
pre-release.
talk about that, I do want to mention. So we did the Super Steel, and then we also did another pre-release. We did a back-to-back pre-releases on Friday. That was a fun time, and I think most importantly, the craziest thing that happened is we both pulled a showcase.
Yeah,
So
but I
that
pulled
was pretty
mine
crazy.
in the prize packs, not the
Yeah,
actual like use
yeah.
packs.
Yeah, Joey got his out of the prize pack. I got mine out of my pre-release pack. I got a Sly Moore one, which was not sad to see. I think it's one of the best looking showcases of this set. It looks really nice in person. So yeah, pulled that out of my pre-release pack, and then obviously I had to play Sly Moore because you pull a showcase, you got to play that showcase. There's no choice there. And then
Sure.
Joey, yeah, on your prize pack, you pulled.
Colonel Yularen, which
Yeah,
is also one of the better looking showcases. It was very interesting as well because with the foiling
yeah,
on it, the back white background, like the emblem behind, you could almost not see it at all because of how like reflective the surface was. But once I put it into the sleeve, it almost like diffused it ever so enough that that emblem really popped. And it really made it stand
yeah.
out quite great. And it was kind of an interesting like dynamic about how that like played out. So
Yeah, I was genuinely surprised at that because it was like I was looking at it just naked and going, "This is." I see that there's this symbol back here, but I can barely see it. I'm
yeah.
not very happy with this foiling. And then you put it in the sleeve, and it's like, "Oh, that looks amazing."
Yeah.
That's
So
crazy.
yep, it was pretty cool though.
Yeah,
But yeah, so we
yeah,
both got fortunate on that, and we'll see what happens with that.
yeah.
So
I mean,
I usually tend to
you're
offload my showcases to like help circumvent the cost of the hobby, but we might do a showcase versus showcase unless I find a buyer sooner than that. So
yeah. Oh, yeah. I will. I don't know if I'm keeping that Sly showcase. I don't know if Sly is a long term leader that I want to play, but I'm definitely going to be building some decks for it. We'll definitely put it on stream
yeah.
before I trade it off.
So on that note, though, during those pre-releases, we did find some cards that we thought were probably very surprising. At least you were surprised by this one. I wasn't so surprised
Yeah,
by this one, but Major Partagaz.
Major Partagas. Yeah, I this is one I had not been thinking about too much going in. I mean, yeah, it's a 0-6 for two, but I was just like, it's got a lot of health, but it needs work to do anything. I was wrong on that just because there's so many officials in this set. All your spy tokens obviously are officials. Partagas gets pumped pretty quickly regularly and becomes a problem because of his I mean that 6 health base is a lot to get through. And most people aren't going to swing at him because I mean it's a 0-6 sitting there. I don't care. I'm not going to waste an action just to whittle that health down a little bit. But he can get pumped up quickly and be very, very terrifying. So he did work in the couple times I played against him. I would be keeping an eye out for him. It's a rare, obviously, so it's not something you're going to always see in a sealed. But I think in a
Comes in the
sealed
starter
environment,
deck.
he's very strong. But in constructed, he also does have potential if we can build some good official decks because that is a nasty, nasty 2 drop that I was not expecting to be as nasty as it was.
Yep. Partagaz comes in the spotlight deck as one of the rares. So if you
Ah,
do
yeah.
find yourself needing that specifically and you want to pony up the money for a spotlight deck, you'll at least get one that way. I have seen a Watt Tambor using the officials, which is pretty nasty. The other thing that I think could be super nasty is if you have a good enough official board built, you sneak attack in a Partagaz, then attack with all the other officials to pump him up for like a finisher at that point in time.
Yeah,
So I think that if you let him sit on the board and your opponent can build a board to work with him, you're in trouble. That
yeah.
overwhelm is the other factor that people don't give enough credit to.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, he's a beast. So yeah, keep an eye out for him in future in any seals that you do. He does work.
the other one that I saw in my adventures was Hired Slicer. I think this
Hmm.
is a card that kind of went under my radar a little bit, mainly because I had the oversight of not realizing that he can exhaust your leader. And he's one of those few things that I think this set, by and large, is all about exhausting the key cards that your opponent is trying to use. I think that's the control method that this set is really kind of leaning into. It's not so much the removal, but the, oh, I did this really cool stuff. Oh, I plotted out and I put all this gear on my leader. Great. We're going to go ahead and exhaust your leader now so you can't
Yep.
do anything with them at that point in time. Hired Slicer is a great example of this, and my opponent used this against me when I had a suited up Deidre, and he was able to hit my base. He didn't understand the card, and I
Hmm.
helped him by letting him know, no, no, you want to use that against me, because he was revealing the two cards from his deck, and the way
Oh,
that this is
jeez.
worded is you reveal two cards of a deck. And it's if
Yep.
you do, you may exhaust a unit that shares a trait with any of those cards. And the big thing was is that if somebody's building a theme deck, like say Rebels, then
Hmm.
you can use this to hit their deck and it's going to exhaust another rebel because most likely they are trying to build a theme against most things in the pre-releases. Officials was the big word that you're going to be hitting most often than not to then exhaust another official. The other thing to note is that the two cards that get revealed go to the bottom of the deck. So it's kind of like a mill, but not going to the discard pile because you're at least taking access to those cards away from your opponent. And if you happen to hit a
Hmm.
big one, whoops, you're not seeing that card anytime soon. This card had a lot more options than I gave it credit for when I first saw it.
No, yeah, I think this is very. I think it's a good card. I think it actually has potential to see some constructed play as well. If we have it, thematic decks, force decks obviously are one of them.
It's
I think this is
fringe,
a
not force.
no, no. I'm saying against force decks. It
Oh,
has
gotcha,
depending on
gotcha.
what the meta is. If you have a lot of theme decks, it could definitely be doing some work in the future. 3/4 at 3 costs is a decent stat line. I don't hate that. I think this is a good counter to Cad Bane as well. I think this is a major problem for Cad Bane. That's a good stat line against him.
I think it's a big problem against space decks because space
Yep,
decks aren't typically going to be
they're
on
all
the ground to
vehicles.
do anything against you, and they're all vehicles, they're all whatever fighters, or there's so many universally shared keywords in space units that
Yep.
this guy against like a Vader or a Luke or this that's where you're really going to get the maximum value out of him because they're not going to be able to take him out. So
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. So I think you're right. I saw him do some work in my games as well. I quickly figured out to kill him immediately. I became the yeah, blow that up as soon as it hits the board. It needs to go away. But I definitely quickly saw that, oh yeah, this is an issue. We need to take care of this. So yeah, that's one. Keep an eye out for him as well. He's really good.
So as we roll into the from the pre-releases to now the release of the set and what we are looking at to come down the pipe, we do have a delayed meta update because they wanted to let that PQ in Germany, or no, the sector in Germany
Sector.
happen without anything interrupting what was going to go on during that. And there's been some speculation on what might be happening. Oh, are they going to finally do something with Han? Oh, are they going to finally do something about Tarkin Town? Or is Data Vault suddenly going to get it kind of thing? I
I'll
don't
just
think
chime
it's
in.
going to
The
be
answer
any
to
of
all
that.
those questions is no.
Yeah. I don't think any of that
They're
stuff
not
is going
doing
to
any
happen.
of that.
The
No.
biggest thing that I was had brought to my attention that I think might be what they're going to be addressing is there was a card that is in set 6 that unfortunately requires some errata. Otherwise, it breaks a bunch of stuff. And I think they're going to have to address this. Whether or not they do or not is the question. And that is when has become now. It was brought to my attention that the way this is worded, as the card is, it basically takes big time advantage of the mechanic that I cannot stand that this game and a lot of other games adheres to, which is the fail to find or do what you can aspect of what the card does. This card, as worded on the physical cards, says play a card with plot from your resources, paying its cost. Period. And this is key that it's a period right after that. Then it states put the top card of your deck into play as a resource. As this is worded, you could literally play the card for one resource, fail to find a plot card, and then just put the top card of your deck into your resource row, essentially making this a one card ramp. That will
Mm-hmm.
break this game.
Yes, this is a huge problem. I'm genuinely curious what happened there. I hope, I mean, I don't know if they'll fully disclose, but I hope they'll at least tell us a little bit at this stream. But yeah, I think they have to address this. Interesting enough, if you go to SWODB, there's a different version of this card showing there, which I'm guessing was an earlier version that got changed, or maybe this was the old version that was changed and they accidentally printed the wrong one. But that version has all of that text after playing the card with plot free resources in italics, which means it's all just helper text
Right.
and not directing you to do it. So it looks like they had the correct version of the card at one point, but this is the version that got printed. And this version that got printed is a problem card because, yeah, as Joey said, that breaks the game. A one cost ramp for a villainy is absolutely insane and would go in every single villainy deck ever.
Yep. This isn't unheard of to have texting be different in templating because I think it was the Han pilot, the 5 cost Han pilot out of the Galactic promos was
Yep.
worded differently. And if you followed the verbatim text on the Galactic uh, card, it actually functions differently than the pilot
Mhm.
itself, and in a way that breaks that card to an extreme as well. You obviously need to be following what the normal version is, and that's what every judge should be upholding. The biggest problem with this card now is that this is the printed version that everybody's seen. This isn't
Yep.
the errated version. This isn't the, oh, this is the promo version that just got misprinted kind of thing. This is the one that everybody got in their packs because I literally have one right here that is worded exactly as the one on your screen is.
Yep.
So it becomes the problem of they're going to now either have to introduce a ratting, which they did not want to do in this game, or this will be a card that gets suspended instantaneously before the set is even legal. And I think it's
Yeah.
a problem if it gets suspended right away because this card actually gave you that option to use plot cards outside of your leader flipping, and it was the only card that did it in the entire set. So it's going to
Mhm.
severely hamper the use of the plot mechanic if it gets suspended right away.
Yep. And related to that also, I don't think we're going to get anything in future sets that plays plot out of
No.
your resources. Like this is the plot focused set. This is the one card that's going to do that. I will also say I have frustrations in the fact that it's a villainy only card and wasn't available for heroism as well. I think it should have been a neutral card just to give equal footing for both on playing plot. But that said, it more specifically the fact of this errata is a huge issue because yeah, if it's instantly banned, that's a hurt to plot. Plot is still a good mechanic and still going to do work, but this card allowing you to play plot without flipping a leader was a big deal, and losing it is going to hurt plot a fair bit. Yes, I'm very curious to see how Fantasy Flight's going to handle this. I expect it will be addressed this week. This Wednesday it is when we have that. But
Is it
yeah,
Wednesday
this
or is it
is.
Tuesday? Is it Wednesday?
I think it said the 5th. I
Yep,
believe
that's Wednesday.
Wednesday.
That's Wednesday.
Yep, that's Wednesday. Yeah, because right now it's the third. Yes, I know my dates. Uh, yes, I know how this works. But yes, I'm curious to see. But both sides, it became this was a mistake that is very unfortunate, and I'm sure Fantasy Flight is not happy that was made. I don't know what happened, but somebody had a bad day when they found out that this happened, and it was at least partially their fault. Sorry for that. Sorry to that guy or gal.
Well, but like we said, templating happens kind of thing.
Yeah,
So
it
it's
happens. Yeah,
trust me, when I'm dealing with cards for games that I've developed, it's like you can get overwhelmed and lost in the sheer number of revisions and stuff like that that you've been making to your cards and where you saved them in this file and that file kind of thing. It's an organizational nightmare at times, and
yeah,
stuff slips through the cracks. So
yep.
I've had spelling mistakes on cards that I sent to the printer. I went, oh.
Yeah, that it happens all the time. Yeah, I just at this point, yeah, and as I said, I do not, this is definitely not a Fantasy Flight. Why are you so bad at this type of thing? Like this is going to happen. I'm just curious to see how they're going to deal with this, how they're going to handle this. It's going to happen again. Errors like this are going to happen every once in a while. No teams are ever perfect, so I don't I don't blame Fantasy Flight for this huge problem, but I do want to see how they're going to actually deal with it. That's what's important.
The question that arises for me is if they open up the errata door, does that mean we can go back and look at the suspended list that currently exists and errata cards to then allow them to be off the list? Or are they just going to rot till rotation?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't think they will. I genuinely doubt that will happen. I could be pleasantly surprised. Um, they, yeah, some of those cards could possibly come back with errata, but I doubt it. It just becomes Fantasy Flight knows what they're thinking in this aspect. Where if you have too much errata in a game, it just becomes a cluster for the players, and especially new players, it becomes a huge headache for, and you don't want to do that.
Fair. So
Yeah.
anyway, that's what we got for you for the Sunday summary or Monday summary, I guess now.
Monday
So
summary, the summary,
yes, the weekly summary. So we're
weekly
definitely
summary.
both
There we
looking
call
forward to
that.
set six. I have, I believe, 15 decks on my docket to build right now.
Oh my god, I
So
have
yep,
I have like three, and
yep,
don't know when I'm going to get a chance because I'm traveling for work.
yep. Yeah. So tune in. I'm definitely going to be having plenty of decks to show off and show around, kind of thing. And I think this Thursday might be just a me kind of building for you guys. We'll see what happens for the
Yeah.
Thursday throwdown. So anyway, that's it for us. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, everybody.